I never thought to check. Good day, everyone. I never thought to check if the connection was strong.
Oh, I don't know.
So busy messing with the
Playing
battery.
around.
Hello, 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 hello.
You will
Sorry
see.
to keep you waiting. We were waiting for that cloud to get out of the way and get a bit of sun, a bit of warmth. It's been a cold day today, although a lot of people would tell you it's been quite sunny.
Yeah, not for us.
We actually woke up super damp this morning, wasn't it? It was like really damp. How are you all? It's been amazing. Good afternoon. Who's that?
JM603.
JM603. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you? And where are you?
Yes.
Now we've just come out of a town called Melrose, and we're heading to a town called Jedburgh.
So JM603 is at
Hampshire.
No, New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire.
I
was in Hampshire. It's come from Hampshire. So and we're probably going to stop a little bit early tonight. I think we've decided to. G'day, Paul. How are you? We're going to stop a little bit early. I'm trying to keep the sun out my eyes. We haven't had a lot of sun today, and I desperately want to get this last bit of sun to just warm and dry a few things off, because this morning when we woke up, everything was soaked just from sort of condensation and damp. Hello, Sally. And it's just everything feels a bit damp. The shoes are in the sun, drying out a little bit in the sun. The liners from the shoes are drying out. So yeah, we're just trying to sit in the sun. I should have my sun hat on, but I think I can just about keep the sun out my eyes with this hood. And can you see me all right? Can you hear me all right?
I think we can. JM603 just made my Steve Owens Christmas pudding the other day. Thanks for that.
Ah, beautiful. Get those make 2 or 3, because next year you can have they'll taste better. You know, make I always like to make at least 2 or 3 Christmas puddings.
Amy's in as well.
Good day, Amy.
And AJ Norfolk Nomad says good evening.
Good day, AJ Norfolk Nomad.
And Sean says not far from the border.
Sean, we're not a long way. I think we're not far from the beginning of the Pennine Way. Well, not the very beginning. I think we joined the Pennine Way sort of like a few miles in, but we're sort of trying to feel our way. We've been making up our own maps and routes. We're on at the moment. It's called the Cuthbert Way, or the St. Cuthbert Way. Which came over those mountains. These mountains behind us look like a couple of boobs in the background there. Somebody said to me. We came through the middle of those 2 mountains. So it's called the St. Cuthbert Way. Oh my Lord, it's steep. It's like that coming up. We were at
130 steps.
130. It starts. You walk through a town called Melrose, and then it says there's this very sort of unceremonious sort of sign stamped to the side of some old house, and it says the St. Cuthbert Way, and then you go down this little dark alleyway between 2 buildings, and then along the back of somebody's garden fence, so it looks as if you're trying to break into their house. And then you end up it just turns, and then you see these steps that just go. Oh gosh, those clouds look rainy.
They're going away from us.
They're going away, are they?
Yeah.
So you just see this line of steps. I might have put a photo up. I don't know if I took the photo. I did, didn't I?
You did take a photo. It might not have been up yet though, because we had to get up. Then had to get up the steep hill, didn't we?
So that was 130 steps up the side of the mountain, but that was just the start. Oh, excuse me, I'll get you all yawning. It was just up and up and up and up and up for what felt like
you put
ages.
it on Instagram stories. It was on there.
Yes. So check out the Instagram stories, the Facebook stories, and also I think on the YouTube stories as well. I'm trying to put stories. Do check out the stories. I know, yawning because we stopped and it's near our bedtime. We go to bed about 6:30.
So Bernie Meyer says hi from London, Ontario in Canada.
G'day, Bernie.
AJ Norfolk Nomad said, how's your feet holding up?
Not too bad. They're pretty tidy. I think I've got a little bit of a rub on the other foot today because because of the damp.
Yeah, it was a bit damp
You can't
yesterday,
see
wasn't
it. I would show you, but it's not really. It's on the toe.
It rained all day yesterday.
You know, we're walking the whole of this in sandals, open sandals, which everybody thinks we're crazy, but they seem to be doing all right for us.
Not too bad.
Michelle got a little bit of a rub on her new sandals, so we've got a couple of, because they're brand new, and I knew she would, because I got the first rubs on mine because mine were brand new when I set off, and so they've been good. But she's got a little bit of rub, and we've just put a little bit of tape on it to sort of go, you know, to stop it rubbing against the side. But no, they're really good. Feet are good.
Cheap Shop Photography says hi, Stephen Michelle.
Hi, Cheap Shop.
Cheap Shop. Sally said I saw the Instagram stories. That's good. And Sean says my feet are quite sore and I only walked to the allotment and back. How far is your allotment, Sean?
We haven't done a big walk today, to be honest, but it's a lot of uphill, so it feels like a big walk.
And downhill, because even the downhill is a bit,
starlings just there. Look, and they're not starlings actually, I don't think. They're like finches or something.
They're those little tiny ones, aren't they?
Yeah, possibly finches.
Because when we go uphill,
2 miles to the
we then have
allotment.
to go downhill like that, and that's not so easy either, is it?
And our feet were damp. Yes. Everything was damp today. That's why I say I sat in the sun trying to dry everything out. Even our bags here.
Yeah, everything's just a
little bit sort of damp, and we're running a little low on power again, which is you know, par for the course.
So Sean says, how many miles in one day do you think you're doing?
We're averaging between 12 and 15 miles a day, Sean. Today is it's always on my phone when you ask me that. Today's about 20 kilometers. So what is that in miles? You can possibly work that out. So that's a low walking day for us today. But it often is when it's uphill, and a lot of uphill, and also when we have a wet start to the day, so we're slow to get going. Yeah. Really hard to get motivated this morning. I think you might have seen in my Instagram pictures the weather is, I mean, it looks gorgeous, doesn't it, at the moment? But
20 k's is 12 miles.
12 miles. So we've done. That's a short walking day for us, Sean. That's normally we're up to nearly 30 k's every day, and then today we came up this big hill, and he said to me, the sun was not there all the time. We walked up the hill. The sun was just behind the clouds, and then we came over the hill and went into a woodlands, and oh, hello.
Thank you, Paul. He says, I bet it's warm and dry and they have power in the pub.
Yes.
There's no pubs around here, Paul.
There's no pubs around here, Paul. No, there's nothing. So, and then we came down those hills. Shall I just turn that so you can see? Let me just unplug the power a moment so you can have a look.
Well, you said to me this morning that the walk was fairly flat. You said, but we've got a bit of an uphill to leave.
Yes. So we came down that hill and it was all in woodland. So you can see there's a nice bit of sun up there now. But in all honesty, we were, all the time the sun was out, we were in the woodland and it was damp and cold and sort of miserable. So we didn't actually get any, so that's why we're enjoying this bit of sun now. We're just lapping it up, really, enjoying a bit of warmth.
Val MB says, hello, where are you? Just tuned in.
Val, we're between Melrose and Jedburgh. And on the St Cuthbert Way. And we're heading to a road called, it's an old Roman road called Deer Street, but D-E-R-E Street, not D-E-A-R. So
D-E-R-E, yes.
D-E-R-E. Yeah. And that's a long walk. We hope to have done a lot of it today, but we're just too tired. And
we'll do it tomorrow.
The weather is getting it's daily, it's bashing us at the moment. We're not used to this weather. You know, we've been out of the, you know, people often think we're Brits, but we're not. We've not really lived in the UK most of our lives, so I'm not used to this low pressure, sort of cold, overcast, grey weather all the time. It's driving me nuts.
JM603 says, well, you have your tea towel, so at least you won't get lost.
My what?
Your tea towel on the back of my bag.
Oh yes, it's got the map. We've got the map. Today we had Smash and fish for breakfast.
Sardines, didn't we?
Sardines. We were going to have porridge and bananas. We'll probably have that tomorrow morning. We've actually got porridge and bananas. But it was interesting this morning. Last night we walked till it was quite late.
It was very late, wasn't it?
It was very late. It was getting dark. And we met a couple of guys down by the river, and we were asking them, you know, if there's any places they could recommend that we stop. And he said, well, along the riverside's really good, he said. But the
gilly.
The gilly, the local gilly, who's the sort of the gamekeeper, or he's basically a river warden, a bit like a traffic warden for the rivers. He said he's a miserable so-and-so, and he'll probably moan at you, but don't listen to him, because he doesn't know what he's talking about, and you're entitled to be there on the riverside. So the two chaps we met, what were their names?
Bob and Tom.
Bob and Tom. Thank you, Bob and Tom. Not that we told them we do the channel, but so they said it would be fine to stop there, and one of them had worked on the river, so he knew it was a good spot. So we put the tent up, and sure enough, this morning along comes Nigel, the gilly, and bangs on the tent and starts shouting again. So this is the second time, isn't it? We've had this before. So straight off the bat, I know this Nigel. I'd said to the two lads the evening before, they weren't lads, they were older guys, but I said to them the evening before, oh, I'll just chat with him, it'll be fine, you know, we'll talk him round. And they said, no, you won't, he's a miserable miser in so-and-so. And I said, well, you know, normally I can explain what we're up to. He said, I wouldn't bother. He said, just he's got no manners, and he's got no politeness about him. He said, just give him a bit of your Aussie sort of, what did he say?
I can't think what the word he used now.
Yeah, just give him a bit of Aussie abuse. So anyway, when this guy knocked on the tent, can you hear me all right, by the way, because the microphone's over here?
Mic's there.
You could see straight away he had a bad attitude. So the camera went straight on, and he looked at the camera and said, I'm not talking to you with that camera on. You're not allowed to camp here. And I said, no, we are actually allowed to camp here, Nigel. And I gave him his name, and it confused him then. Yeah. Oh, good. So knowing his name really riled him,
didn't it?
knowing already that he was a bit of a, you know, fill in the blanks here, riled him already. So we just sort of I just got the camera out and I sort of filmed, and I said, no, we're actually fine. We're allowed to be here. And he sort of said, well, I'm not talking to you if you've got the camera. And he walked off and went away, and he left us alone, basically. But he did turn out to be quite a miserable so-and-so. And we were in a perfectly, you know, we weren't harming anyone. We were on the riverbank, away from everything. It was no big issue. So that was quite interesting.
It was.
But it was a really damp start to the morning. Everything was damp. All the clothing was damp. My shoes were damp from the night before, and they were still damp. They got damper through the night.
Yeah, because it wasn't so cold last night, but it was very damp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it rained through the night as well.
And it rained through the night, and the
Yeah.
inside of the tent got wet. This sounds like a great adventure, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
sounds so good.
Well, Sean says two things. At the end of it, you should raffle those jackets off. I like my jacket. I might want to keep my jacket.
No, we raffle them off. You're right, Sean.
And he says, is there anywhere so far that you would love to return to for a holiday?
Yes, Sean. I tell you, we went through the most beautiful part of the walk so far, to my mind. I think you as well, Michelle. Yeah. And it was the
Cross Borders Drovers Road path.
Yeah, the cross border drovers path, or it's also called the Thieves Path.
Yeah.
And I did share a bit of it on Instagram, and to be honest, it's outside of what town was it outside of?
That one.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Well worth the visit, and I will document it later on a little bit more, but you will have seen it in recent Instagram stories. Absolutely gorgeous, lovely mountain. Felt like you were in the middle of nowhere. Felt like you were a long way from anywhere, but it was perfect. The weather was nice for us. Most scenic part of the world.
Peebles, Sean says. It was outside.
Well, it was outside Peebles, but I can't remember.
That wasn't the one that we were thinking of, was it?
Anyway, it's the Cross Drovers Trail. It's a lovely walk. It was second only to staying with all our friends, and I have to include Rick and Nat and David and the boys.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are highlights of our trip as well. But no, I'd certainly highly recommend, if you're talking about places to go and walk, places to go and see. I mean, apparently Melrose is a beautiful place to visit, but you know, we don't have time.
No, we didn't need to stop, so we just
If
really
you
went
stop
slowly.
in every small town that you, sorry, Michelle, jumping in.
Yeah,
If we
sorry.
stop in every small town, we'd never get anywhere. So you really only just pass through towns. Peebles was nice.
It was. Neurodrift says, good morning, guys. How's your view today? So you're going to show everyone the view?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
And Sean says, looking forward to watching the series. You should sell it to Netflix.
Well, we might try and make it as professional as we can. So here's the view. Just go over the top of Michelle's head. We're in a field that has been cut. It doesn't look as if it's. It doesn't look as if he's been planted. Well, he hasn't ploughed the field.
No.
Our hiking sticks are there with a towel drying out. We've got hedgerow behind us.
And Val MB said, would be interesting to see your lab results after this walk is finished. Fit. I think so.
Well, I tell you what, gentlemen of a certain age, you lads that are out there that know anything about visceral fat. Visceral fat is the worst.
Sorry, it's very pretty, JM603 said.
It's very pretty. Visceral fat is the hard fat that forms around your stomach. You know, you often see men of a certain age that look a bit pregnant, and visceral fat is actually almost the yellow lard type fat that goes around the organs. I'm going to give you, sorry if I go off track a little bit here, I'm sure. So a lot of you lads of a certain age, once you get up to about sort of over 40 or so, you'll get visceral fat, and it's not good for you. It's really, really bad for you because it forms around your kidneys and your liver. You'll see it on animals sometimes. It's a very waxy fat. And so it feels like muscle, but it actually is fat. That is the easiest fat to burn off. It burns off very quickly, but it can also give you a spike in cholesterol when it burns off. Now, I'm pleased to say my visceral fat from my stomach has almost completely gone. I'm still a little overweight around the stomach, but it's more subcutaneous. I think they call it subcutaneous fat.
Yeah, well, JM603 said, I'm one of those men. I look pregnant with twins. Ben and Jerry, I call them.
Yes.
And Sean says, yes, that's what I've got.
It's not good fat, lads. I'm sorry, but it's the one that will often end up doing you down in the end because it's an easy fat to accumulate, but it's also quite an easy fat to burn off. So, yeah, for my lab results, you were saying both Michelle and I, yeah, the balcony's off. The balcony's still there, Paul. Look,
oh, it's going. But we were saying, even walking up the hills today, how much fitter we were, because when we first started, it would have taken us about 30 attempts to get up that hill, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And we got up the 130 steps in 2 goes with our packs on, so that wasn't bad, was it?
And it's also a little bit why we're calling the Instagram stories the 1,000-mile detox, because, you know, it is like a detoxification. It really feels like you're... I haven't been able to weigh myself, and Michelle and I haven't, but I suspect we've lost quite a bit because our buckle, you know, our waistbands are tightening further and further round. We've had to adjust our bags. So there's a big plus to this. It's a seriously positive thing to do at this age where it is really hard to lose that sort of weight.
So Michael says, hi, it's always very nice to see you too. And Star says, hello, great to see you both again.
Who were the last two?
Michael and Star 123533.
Good day, Star and Michael. Thank you.
And JM603 said, you both look great. How many calories do you think you need to eat to maintain the energy you're burning off on the walk?
Well, normally I think you need to consume, men and women, slightly different calorie rates. I think probably about 1,800, 1,900 calories a day for someone of my stature and age, and Michelle's even less than that, probably about sort of 1,400 to 1,600. But while we're walking, we're having to eat a lot more than that in calories, because we probably have to eat over 3,000 calories a day just to sustain, you know, our health, you know, so as not to starve to death. So we can almost eat whatever we want.
I'm just about to run out of power, so I don't know.
Are you running low on power?
I am. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Well, Michelle might lose her connection, so
yeah, it's all right.
Not to worry. So, for instance, tonight I can't be bothered to heat anything up, so I'm having a Ginster's pasty. And afterwards, I'm going to have a Snicker.
So
I
we
don't
can
know
have
if any
nice
of-
things
I
too.
don't know, yeah, I don't know if any of you, nuts and sugar really helps, although we're actually trying to wean ourselves off of refined sugars, generally in our diets anyway. But these Snickers are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
This
they
is
are,
only
aren't
two.
they?
This is only 2 bites by the time you sort of screw up the end that they pretend there's a Snicker in. The other day, by the way, they used to call Snickers Marathon. I don't know if you remember them
Hi,
being
Rick.
called Marathon. And in the store the other day, they had a retro packs of these, and you could buy them with the name Marathon on. So that's kind of cool. Good day, Rick. How are you, mate? By the way, Rick, you asked yesterday or today. We are fine, and we're doing very well. We're doing good. We're just a bit weather beaten. You know, we're a little bit kind of wish it wasn't so cold. The last few days we've had highs of 12 degrees and lows of -1.
So John says good morning from Alabama. You both look marvellous.
Thank you. I don't feel marvellous today. I feel that
And
my,
Matt,
my skin's really dry because the wind,
it's
the
been
blowing of the
windy,
wind.
isn't it? Mandy says hello, Michelle and Steve.
Hello, Mandy. How are you?
And JM 603 says thanks for the info. I remember them called Marathon when I was younger in the UK.
Yes, so I didn't even notice. Somebody else said to me, oh, they're called Marathons, they're retro. I bought them. I didn't even notice. We bought a pack of 6
They were
packs.
just the right colour, the right everything looked the same except for it didn't say Snickers, it said Marathon.
Yes. So this would be like a Ginster's pepper and steak slice. I'll let Michelle ask some questions while I have a quick bite.
So Rick said it's good to hear, and then he said brr, and Sean said send them some of that shed installation, Rick.
We got some, haven't we, Rick? We've got one of those emergency blankets, but the new
down blanket.
The new down blanket. We're actually, by the way, we're actually sat on the tent. It's pinned out, and if you look here, just on this edge here, you'll see this silver foil.
And that's between the base and the ground sheet.
Yeah. A young man in one of the stores recommended that idea because we were finding the cold coming through the floor in some spots really kind of chilled you. And he said, well, put that underneath your sleeping bags. Well, we put it underneath our sleeping bags and it was just like sliding around all over the place and rustling. So we decided to put it between the base of our tent, and the tent itself's got a sort of base layer underneath it, and they pin out together. So it's between those two, and it does really work well. It reflects the heat, the cold back into the ground.
We're shutting down, but just quickly, Mohammed said hi, and Sean said we must be tent experts by now.
Oh, we can put this tent up in... We put it up last night in the dark.
Oh, completely in the dark.
Completely in the dark, couldn't see a thing.
Inside in the
and
dark.
We probably put it up in somewhere 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not a pop-up tent. It's but we can put it up in the dark
and take it down. It just takes us longer sometimes to take it down when it's wet.
So I'm going to have to look at the comments if you're not online.
You are. I've shut
I think
down.
I just saw Gordon come in as
Finished.
well. The old yeah, Goon Love's in. Mohammed from Kochi.
Oh.
Did we meet you there, Mohammed? So yeah, I would say we are. I might miss some of the comments, ladies and jelly spoons, because it's starting to get cold again.
See, yesterday when we stopped, it wasn't cold, was it at all? I said I was making up the beds and they're putting the mats out, and I said, oh, it's not cold. It's quite warm in here. But
yeah,
today it's going to be cold.
It did feel better, didn't it?
Yeah, we've got clear, well, sort of clearer skies.
It would be nice. I mean, look ahead of us here. Sorry, I'm not doing all the flicking of the camera, but I mean, you can see. Whoops, 1, 2.
The sun's coming out the clouds.
You might see a little bit of ray, but I don't think we're going to have a red sky.
No. So we are getting near to the border, aren't we?
We are. We'll probably cross into England in the next 24 hours, maybe 48 hours.
48. Depends on whether we get a move on or not.
Yeah.
I don't know how close it is to Jedburgh.
We don't. Is Jedburgh in?
I've no idea.
Quick Google someone. Is Jedburgh in England? Because we will be in Jedburgh tomorrow.
We will be there, definitely tomorrow. And it's flat, apparently, from here to there.
If anything sort of, if anything sort of stops us at the moment, it could be the weather.
Yeah.
You know, we do sometimes sit there and say, why are we doing this in this time of year? And we know why we're doing it. We haven't got a choice. We can't go back to Australia. We're stuck from going home. So that's why we're doing it. But I did say to Michelle the other day, maybe we should have gone somewhere warmer to hike. I like warmer weather, I must admit.
But we're doing okay.
But it is beautiful.
They've answered your question, I think, about whether Jedward's in England.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jedward is in England.
Oh, is it?
Oh, so we'll be in England tomorrow.
We'll be in England tomorrow, then we'll cross the border.
We'll be crossing the border.
We'll have made it to England.
So there we go. Goodbye, Scotland. You've been lovely.
Yeah.
On and off.
You're very big, Scotland. I didn't realise you were quite as big as you were.
Bad time to bite your pasty, Stephen.
We met a lovely lady yesterday. She was walking Land's End to John O'Groats, wasn't she? We met her on a very quiet back road. That was rather nice. Oh, and we've got to say thank you to Tony O'Malley.
Tony O'Malley
and Cheryl Lassou.
Cheryl, I hope your surname is pronounced Lassou.
Sorry if it isn't.
If we pronounce it incorrectly. Thank you very much for the PayPal payments that came through yesterday. Particularly we were wet and soggy. We were
sat on a picnic bench, weren't we, in the middle of nowhere.
And thank you, Paul, for your super chat today. We were sat there and we were dripping. And we'd met another nice lady walking a dog. We meet so many lovely people.
We do.
Since we've been down below Glasgow from pretty much off the West Highland Way, we found people, I don't know, just more approachable, more chatty. They don't jump in the bushes as you pass them. Some of them still do.
Yeah.
Some of them still will walk in busy traffic to get away from you, and it just beggars belief. Some of them will still walk across a field to avoid you, but mostly people have been very friendly and very approachable, and I'm pleased with that. Long may that continue. We still haven't calculated how far we've walked. I know we could do it sort of Google and work it out, but I think it's over a third now of the way. I'd say it's probably getting close to 500 miles.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, at least. And we're feeling quite good about that. Whether or not the weather will eventually beat us down, I don't know. Some people are saying that the Pennine Way is... some people are saying the Pennine Way is really harsh at the moment and quite boggy and quite unpleasant. Somebody said something about the East Coast.
Yeah, if anybody knows another way.
No, Bandy, we're not on the East Coast. We talked about this before. You know, if you look at the map, if you get a copy of the British map up, you actually see that Edinburgh is further east than Bristol. And if you come directly down from Edinburgh, you can't go down. There's a big lump of sea in the way, so you've got to come round that piece of sea, and then a little further down again there's another great big chunk of the Irish Sea in the way. So effectively, unless you can swim across those sections of sea, you do have to come quite a bit further east just to get down. The other thing is there are no really joined up walking ways that will keep you off the main roads. Anyway, I've talked about this quite a lot in the last live stream. I won't probably cover it all again today, but there's some logic in what we're doing.
And we're still trying to work out the Pennine Way stretch, aren't we?
We're a bit worried the Pennine Way could be our Achilles heel.
Yeah, you know, we'd like to sort of join it halfway down in the nice bit, but
because we've met a few people that have come up through it and said it's really harsh, and that's in the summertime. They've come up in sort of the August, September weather, and we'll be going down
in October weather.
In sort of September, is it? Yes, October now, isn't it?
October today. I just noticed it was the 1st of October.
Wish us luck on that. If this does end up being, you know, if we do end up having to stop for any reason. We won't not do the walk. We'll just take it to somewhere warmer.
Yeah.
But I think it's unlikely to.
No, we think we'll still
It's
manage
probably
it.
unlikely to stop. We're not physically going to stop for any physical reasons.
No, it's if it gets too
Let me just bring
cold
that a
and
bit
wet
closer.
and windy, and we'll just see. We'll just see. There's some comments coming in. I feel very lazy sat back here.
Yeah. Dumfries and Galloway thought you might do this. Look, unfortunately, I haven't got a clue where Dumfries and Galloway is. I don't know the geography of Scotland or England very well. I've lived out of this country pretty much all of my adult life. So the only places I really know well are places we've been through. So a lot of people say, are you going to so-and-so or this shire or here? And I haven't got a clue, because we're really only planning a few days in advance. We've got a general idea, but they're just names to me until we get there, and then they come alive. So yeah, it's hard for us to be for sure.
Yeah, what's in front of us, we really don't know.
I know
behind us?
Jedburgh,
Yeah.
and I think after Jedburgh is a place called Byoness. And after that, I can't tell you one place between Byoness and Land's End.
Well,
not
I was
a
going to
single
say,
place.
Land's End. That's
Yeah,
the next one I
that's
know.
the only one. And it's not because I don't know this country well enough geographically, and we're as surprised as you are at the crazy route that we're taking, but it does kind of make sense if you analyze it. It does make some sense. So we've done, how many ways do you think we've done? You guys could probably have a little guess, but how many ways, like, you know, the great the Glen Way and Byron?
Hi, Byron.
Yeah, the hills are alive with the sound of music. You were right, Byron. Burrow Burn, Steve. Yes, just keep throwing them at me, Mandy. I haven't got a clue. Burrow Burn, I got a feeling we might have even been through.
I have no idea. Doesn't ring a bell with me.
Look at this skies here. Look.
I think the sun's going down.
That looks ominous, doesn't it? That's, I think.
Well, have you looked at that one?
Oh, it's all looking a bit grim.
Mm.
But we have got blue over there.
But it doesn't mean we're going to get any sun.
Well, I hope we are a bit inspirational, Gordon. I don't mean that in a big-headed way, but I do hope maybe some people are thinking, well, you can do this. I mean, Michelle and I would not be the last to actually say we were not fit. You know, we walk. We've always walked in towns we visit, you know, and we're always quite pleased when our phones tell us we've done 10,000 steps. But in reality, we're not fit. No. We've not done any hiking with big, heavy weights on our back like this. We've not done sort of 10 to 15 mile walks day in, day out with these big packs on our back. We were not fit. And
I mean, we do feel fitter, but we're still young. At the end of the day, we still think, glad we stopped.
Yeah. So it's doable. I think if I were to do this, if I had the choice, if I were planning it, I probably would have started it back in May or somewhere like that, which is when we planned.
May is the time, I reckon.
Yeah, which is when we planned to do the Camino. The Camino de Santiago, excuse me.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the best end of the year to do it, but and I didn't anticipate quite how long it would take us to do it. But, you know, we'll just keep going.
But we are kind of hoping that we will have
Indian summer.
You know, people will start to say, wow, it's one of the warmest Octobers that we've ever had. Because if it turns out to be one of those, wow, we've got the worst October ever, then I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if we can do it. Not for the want of walking, because I could certainly walk another 500 to 1,000 miles. That's something that we've proven to ourselves already. But whether or not we'd be able to tolerate the rain and
And the cold.
the cold. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. We plan on doing it.
Yeah. But there are some days, people have said, you know, there are some days you do sort of think, what are we doing
What are we
this for?
doing?
Because we've had some, you know, some of those mornings where you wake up and get shouted at by somebody, you do start to think what you're doing it for is because I've always said to people, and I say to all of you out there, I've said it to everyone I talk to at any length, is in life, if you're not enjoying things, you shouldn't be doing it because life is so short. You know, you really have to make those decisions. If you're doing something that is not enjoyable now, the chances are you'll still be doing something that you're not enjoying in a year from now and 6 years from now. You have to sometimes take those steps, and you will be surprised how well things turn out. If you planned that you wanted to, you know, get a potter's wheel and throw pots and make pots, or you wanted to, you know, travel like Michelle and I do, don't leave it another day. Don't leave it another week. Get on and just do it. It will work itself out. I can't guarantee it, but for Michelle and I, it always has. You've got to live life to the fullest. And so I do say, I do always say to people, if you're not enjoying it, don't do it. If this walk becomes to a point where we literally cannot do it because of the rain and the cold and the wind, and we're not enjoying it,
Yeah.
that would be a reason to stop.
Because most of the time at the moment we are enjoying it. I wouldn't say we're enjoying it all of the time because that would be a lie.
Yeah.
But most of the time we are enjoying it. But yeah, if it gets to the stage where we're thinking, well, what's the point? Then we'll stop.
We've proven to ourselves already that we can walk it. That's without a doubt we can walk these sort of distances. Whether or not we'd want to walk it if it got rainy and cold or snow and blizzards and things, we'd have to decide. Because I'm not out to try and do the Scott of Antarctic thing. I don't need to. I already thought that it was going to be a lot more pleasant than it has been. I didn't realise it was how grey and miserable it can be.
But when the sun's shining, it's beautiful. We love it. You know,
Let me just have a little look.
It's great.
Let's see some comments there before we sort of wind this up. I think I saw Rick saying so. No, I thought it was Rick Sky watching. The International Space Station zoomed out again. Okay. Mandy, I haven't got a clue.
She's listing lots of places.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandy. Preach it, brother John. Well, it's not, I don't intentionally try to preach it, but I do say to, I've always said to people, you know, don't do things, don't tolerate a life of mediocrity. You know, it's so easy. I tell a story, and I might have a moment just to say about this. A lady in Auckland, New Zealand. There was an I think she was 82 years old. She might have been 86. It's probably not that relevant, but she was studying in Auckland University, I think sociology or one of, it wasn't relevant what she was studying, but she was studying, she became a favorite with all the students there. She was like their sort of grandmother to all of them. And they asked her once she graduated, she took a while to actually graduate, but they asked her when she graduated, why. They got her up on stage and said, you know, one of the students said, why did you decide to do a degree in Auckland University so late in life? And she said, because a lot of elderly people that I know around me, a lot of people towards the end of their life have too many regrets, she said. And the worst thing you can have at the end of your life are too many regrets. And it stayed with us, didn't it, really? That sort of poignant sort of moment, because you think, yes, it's important. And she actually passed away, I think, possibly about a year later. But the point was that she wanted to have a degree. That's why she'd always regretted not having a degree, and so she went and did it. It's a great story, and it's a lovely sort of philosophy in life. You know, you don't want to regret not doing things when you were 30 or when you were 20 or when you were 40 or when you were 50. You need to do those things. So if I can say anything at all about inspirational, if you want to walk Land's End to John O'Groats, do it. Just don't probably do it now. It's going to get cold.
I recommend it maybe a little bit earlier in the year.
Yeah, I can suggest a couple of other walks you could do this time of year. So it seems yes, I think regret's impossible to deal with. Wonder about Adrian's. Yeah, we believe we will be crossing Adrian's Wall. We met a wonderful couple. Another couple that are really inspirational are Chris and Pete, who we met. A couple who cycle a lot. And we met them cycling up to John O'Groats. They weren't coming from Land's End. They were just coming from Carlisle. But there's still a long cycle route. And they're in their sort of, and I hope they won't mind me saying, but they're in their sort of mid to late 60s. And they'd actually, just a couple of years ago, had cycled from Adrian's Wall to the Great Wall of China, in China, would you believe? Yes, I know there's probably not another Great Wall. And they were telling us about it, and they've written a blog. It's called the Wall-to-Wall Cycle.
Yeah, but the Wall-to-Wall Cycle.
And so you can read it. You can go online and have a look at it. Lovely couple, so inspirational. They've got these wonderful, just solid bikes, and they just set off. And we did say to them, maybe Michelle and I should cycle back to Australia. And she said, yes, you should do it. It's such good fun. So, you know, you never know. If the mood takes us, it might happen. But yeah, try and check out their blog. It's the Wall to Wall with Chris and Pete. It's an online blog. You can Google it. At the moment, just last thing before we go, we are we've just come out of Melrose. We've come over the hills. We are on the St Cuthbert Way. Though I think they made it up. I don't think there was ever a St Cuthbert. It's a load of nonsense. I think it'd be
climb paths like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't. To be honest, we're coming up paths like this, and I know any St Cuthbert, even back in the old days, would have just walked around the flat roads.
Yeah, I mean, there's only three hills. You could have come
there's
round
roads that come round that wouldn't have been there when St Cuthbert was around, so you could have walked quite merrily along them without going up that stupid hill. But apparently this is the St Cuthbert Way, though I do think a lot of these sort of heritage societies make things up, because it was bloody awful. And actually there were parts of it that were completely unnavigable.
Yep.
I put a photograph up, or if I haven't, I will do soon, of where it said turn right onto the St Cuthbert Way, and it was just gorse. It's just like a big bush of gorse with a little set of footsteps that went to it and just vanished.
We did do about 10 steps and said this is stupid and turned around.
That was the other end. We tried to come into it, the other end.
Yeah.
And then as we were coming down this Three Peaks hike, I think that might be the Three Peaks there. As we were doing the Three Peaks hike, sorry, look up there, that's probably the Three Peaks, isn't it?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
For quite some time, for about maybe 400 or 500 meters, maybe half a kilometer, there was no mention of the St Cuthbert Way, and then the sign suddenly had the St Cuthbert Way on it again, as if it had rejoined our route, and the only thing to the left of it was more gorse bush. So yeah, I don't think there is such a thing. No. I think it's complete nonsense. But everyone says, oh, it's lovely, the St Cuthbert Way. It's lovely if you want to be sort of up to your armpits in gorse and thistle. Now, there was no way through it. The farmer's over there now. Hope he doesn't sort of mind us being in his field. It might not even be his field. And he's the other side.
It's the other side of the hedge.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm yawning now.
Let's hope we don't get any trouble tonight.
No, I think we'll be fine tonight. It's pretty... There's been lots of dog walkers and things.
No, we're very exposed here. We do seem to have a lot of... As we've sat here longer and longer, we've noticed there's more and more paths coming through with dog walkers. And there's a farmer working just in the field next to us. So hopefully he won't mind us being in here. We're not on the crop area of the field. You can actually see, if I just turn the... There's often around the edge of the fields, and this is not a fenced in field at all. It's completely open. There's no fencing, but you can actually see the area that they grow. Around the edges, there's quite often a grass area, and this particular field has got a very broad grass bank on it, so it's perfect for us just to stop.
And that's what we've done.
That's what we're saying anyway. All right, so any other questions quickly? I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry you are late, because we are going to wrap up.
It's getting cold now.
Chris, how are you, mate? You need to warm up some cooked rice and curry. Oh man, there's some food I would absolutely love at the moment. All right, all of you, we've had a bit of a preachy one today, bit of a sermon from
Sermon Steve.
from Sermon Steve. From, only because you asked the questions, though. We're going to get off, Michelle and I. We've got to finish our little bits of pasties. Maybe have something a little bit sweet. We're not going to have anything warm this evening, and then we're going to get into bed, and probably literally in about 45 minutes we'll be asleep. So loved you all.
Yes, take
From
care.
Michelle and I,
Great you could join us.
very close to the borders of England, where apparently we're going to get more trouble for trying to stop than anywhere. Oh. All right, loved you all. Take care. It's another story. We'll see you. Talk about that next time.
Bye.
Bye.